Thank you so much. For the record, this is Douglas Stevens. And I think Mr. Creeder and I want to state on the record that we're going to treat this deposition as if it's a legally admissible deposition and waive any objections as to the swearing of the witness, etc.
That's correct.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Keslin. Could you state your full name for the record?
Jeffrey Michael Keslin.
And your address?
My current address, or at the time of the accident?
At your current address.
1351 North Ashland Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60622.
You live in Chicago now?
Yes.
And what's your job there?
I am a high school math teacher.
All right. And is it your intention at this point to stay living in Illinois?
Yes, at least for a while.
All right. You don't have any present plans to relocate to the Virginia area?
Nope.
All right. Beautiful. Drawing your attention to June 12, 2011. On about that date, did you have occasion to witness an accident between a family and a gentleman in each in different cars?
Yes.
All right. Could you tell us what you saw?
I was a car or two behind the SUV with, I believe their name was the Sultan family. And I saw another car, an SUV, was coming onto the highway via the on-ramp. His car left the on-ramp, went onto the grass, came into the road that we were on, and hit the other SUV with the Sultan family that was traveling the same direction as I was.
The people who were involved in this collision, they were strangers to you?
Yes.
All right. So you learned the name Sultan family after the accident happened?
Yes, from you.
When you first saw the, I'll call it the car with the man and the car with the family, okay?
Okay.
When you first saw the car with the man, where was it?
What do you, before or after the collision?
Before.
It was, well, I guess I first noticed it when it had, out of the corner of my eye, very strangely had left the on-ramp and was driving through the grass in between the on-ramp and the highway.
Can you tell me how much grass it... Am I correct that after it left the highway, after it left the ramp, it crossed the grass and then re-entered the highway? A different highway?
Right. So as opposed to... So a normal traveling car would have gone down the on-ramp, which was circular shaped, and then entered the highway. His car, for whatever reason, left the on-ramp, went across about 1 or 2 car lengths worth of grass and into the highway perpendicular to the direction of traffic.
And did his vehicle strike the family's vehicle in a perpendicular direction?
Approximately.
Do you remember which side of the family's vehicle was struck?
I believe it was the right side of the car.
That would be the passenger side?
Yes.
All right. Can you tell me what the speed was of the man's car when you first saw it?
Hard to say, but he was moving pretty fast.
From the... Okay, from the time... Sorry.
Go ahead.
From the time you first saw the man's car until it collided with the family's car, did the man's car change direction in any way?
No.
From the time you saw the man's car until the collision, did the man's car slow down in any way?
No.
Could you describe where the family's car was at the time of, well, just before the collision? Where was the family's car? You said it was in front. Oh, let me start over again. You were on a ramp, correct?
No, I was just driving down the highway, a couple car lengths behind the Sultan.
All right. All right, you were a couple of car lengths behind the Sultan family?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
Were you in the same lane?
I was in the right lane. I think they were in the left lane, if I remember correctly.
From the time you first noticed the Sultan family until the collision, did the Sultan family car do anything unusual?
No. He was driving as most people do down the highway. Straight.
Were you, how far ahead of you was the Sultan vehicle?
I mean, a couple car lengths, I guess.
How far from you were you from the collision when the collision occurred?
I was able to hit the brakes to avoid being a part of the accident without, without too much discomfort. But I guess I was far enough behind to not be involved, but still, close enough to be alarmed by a random car traveling right in front of us.
Did you approach either car after the accident?
Yes.
Where did you go first?
I went to the car that was closest, which was the man's car. I asked him if he was okay. He was in a daze, but he seemed like uninjured and able to move his arms and legs. So I went to check on the other car, the Sultan family's car.
And what did you see there?
The passenger side was heavily damaged. I went over to the passenger side window. I guess the mother of the Sultan family was yelling. She thought I was the driver of the other car, so she was yelling at me. And I was trying to ask her if she was okay, if her family was okay. And I heard some kids in the back, and they were, crying, but they did not seem injured. So I stood around with another man, also pulled over to help, and he and I stood around with the Sultan family until the medics and police arrived.
Did you have any contact with the man who was driving the car after that? The man who had been driving the car alone after that?
Right. I don't remember this very well, but my previous recorded statement is probably more helpful, but I do remember going back over there. I asked him if he was okay, or if he had fallen asleep, or if he, was impaired in some way, and he just said, I don't know, and that was all I could get out of him. And then
did you ask him? Sorry. Did you ask him if he was on medication?
I asked him if there was anything he was on that could have impaired his driving, and he said no.
Where was he when you saw him after leaving the Sultan car?
He was sitting near his car, I believe, on the ground.
All right. When you approached him the first time, when he was still in the car, when you spoke to him, did he respond to you?
He may have mumbled something, but he definitely didn't put a sentence together.
Right. And
I'm sure he was shocked and so forth.
You said that you asked him if he fell asleep?
Yeah, I may have asked him that.
Do you remember what his response was?
I know he didn't say yes, because I would have remembered that, but he either said no or I don't know.
All right, that's all the questions I have. I'm going to, Mr. Carita will have some questions.
Mr. Keslin, you said you observed the man driving the SUV when he was driving through the grass. Were you able to observe whether he was able or was actually attempting to make any kind of correction, such as braking or steering, or that he appeared in control of his car at all?
It's hard to tell because it happened so quickly, but it didn't seem like he was in control of his car. I didn't see any attempt to slow down or to divert the vehicle. He was And, you know, there was the grass was a little bumpy, and there was a curve, so it was just, his car was getting knocked around by these obstacles. I don't think he was making any attempt to change the direction of the car or to slow it down.
All right. And the first time you approached his vehicle, you said he appeared to be in a daze and could not put a sentence together. Is that correct?
That's correct.
When you went to the car with the family in it, you said the mom was yelling at you. Do you remember what she was yelling?
She said something like, "What is wrong with you? How could you do this?" And because she thought I was the driver of the other vehicle.
Right.
And that's all I can remember from that.
Now, were you still on the scene when any of the police or fire personnel came?
I was, yes.
All right. Did you observe the sole male driver getting any medical treatment?
I did not, to my recollection, remember him getting medical treatment.
So you didn't see him getting 2 tubes of glucose gel from one of the ambulance people?
Objection.
I didn't, but to be honest, I wasn't paying much attention to that, so I'm not a good resource for that.
Okay. All right, sir. Thank you. That's all the questions I have.
I have another question for you. It's Mr. Stevens, Doug Stevens again. Did you have a chance to observe whether or not each person in the Sultan vehicle was injured?
Object exceeds cross. You may answer.
Well, I know the mother was taken away by EMTs. I think she had there was an injury with her right arm or maybe her neck. I remember them restraining her neck. I can't speak. The father seemed okay and composed. I'm not sure about the children.
All right, thank you. I have nothing.
There wasn't anything like their bones were sticking out or anything, but there was nothing noticeable.
All right, thank you. I have nothing further.
Do you need anything else? No, all right, sir, we're done. You'll be getting something in the mail, right?
Yes.
And just please review that, sign the affidavit, and return it where indicated, okay?
All right, thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time.